Alright, so today we're going to be talking about One Piece 1075. And this chapter was interesting because obviously last time we were talking about One Piece, I said I'm not really interested in the trader theory, but that was brought to be a major focus this chapter. So it was interesting for me, right? I still kind of believe it was probably just Caribou, and then the government took advantage of that. I don't think there's going to be a Vegapunk trader. Because to be honest, I can't think of an obvious answer besides, Lilith herself. And then I don't think Shaq is going to be evil. I just think he's going to be the primary Vegapunk at the end of the day. Or he's going to be like a backup. So let's say the main body of Vegapunk dies. All that information is going to be completely backed up into Shaka. And Shaka might be what the ideal version of Vegapunk was going to be. That's kind of my idea straight away. Even like Shaka takes priority in all these chapters. He's a big focus. Even Luffy talks to Shaka, right? So I think that's gonna be very interesting. I also think Shaka might have some relation to Luffy in the sense, I don't know. I feel like he might be like modeled after his mother or something. He's to do with Dragon to some degree. He might be modeled after Dragon. So it's an interesting, maybe he's a mix between Vegapunk and Dragon's DNA. So we actually get Luffy meeting Dragon, quote unquote, through Shaka. Like, he's wearing a mask, so he has to be someone. And he has to be a mix of Vegapunk's DNA and someone else. It can't just be he's Vegapunk, like a handsome Vegapunk. He has to be something interesting. And I think it has to do with Dragon, because that was the first person we saw him talk to. So I'm excited to see where that goes or what that entails. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to be approached, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Also, we can end this debate now. The Gorosei are strong as fuck. Alright, yeah, you could say, okay, look, they only had him destroying cameras, but Mr. J. Garcia Saturn, right? They wouldn't betray him destroying the lab of the strongest man, or the smartest man in the world, if he wasn't strong. And he's fast, because even Shaka couldn't make out who it is, right? So this is going to be interesting. He might even be faster than Kizaru. Imagine if the Gorosei are faster than light. That would be crazy. I'm excited to see. Obviously, power scaling feats and stuff. That's going to be interesting. How it's done, how they do it, things like that. I'm really interested in how they might go about it. I think we got the cover story, right, where we had Vegapunk meet with the Gorosei. So that's obviously going to tie in. Obviously, he was kidnapped by the government, but I don't know how this arc is going to end now. Like, is it going to be a rescue attempt where Luffy tries to fight Kizaru to get Vegapunk? Because I feel like they brought Vivi in here. Because if you didn't know, I said Vivi might come back in Egghead, but it turns out she was over Egghead when this was happening. How I think this is going to play out? There's going to be like an ultimatum, right? So Vivi's going to come down and she's going to be put in danger. And Vegapunk's going to be put in danger, and Luffy has to make a decision on who to save, and he chooses Vivi, of course, and then that puts Vegapunk back in the government's hands, and Shaka might be annoyed then, and we might get some conflict then between the 6 Vegapunks and Luffy. But I do think, primarily speaking, that Vivi is going to be the reason that Vegapunk gets taken away, because she had to be saved instead. Because obviously if she comes down or comes back into focus, the Gorosei are going to go after her, because we saw Emu pick her picture up, so she's obviously going to be important to some degree. So Luffy will have to protect her in that sense, right? I don't know, I'm excited to see where that goes. And obviously, hopefully this arc she rejoins the Straw Hats. This might be something I'm really looking forward to. I don't know. To be honest, it's really hard for me to argue her joining the Straw Hats though, because how is she going to get a power up, right? Like, what's her ability going to be, Because she has no hockey, but then again, she could just be an Usopp guy. She could be like Usopp, but be more brave and be more, slick like Nami. Be a mix of Usopp and Nami, be slick, but be weak as Usopp. And then see how that is approached in the modern day. And maybe she does have some form of hockey, maybe she does learn that. Maybe Sabo taught her a little bit, or maybe even Cobra had someone in Alabasta that knows hockey, and he was like, you need to learn this over the last 2 years. So maybe she is a lot stronger than we think she is. I'd say she's probably a bit stronger than Rebecca. she's definitely the weakest Straw Hat if she joins in, but she's not going to stay the weakest because we know Oda likes to keep Usopp as the weakest Straw Hat, so that's obviously his main focus. 99% of the time is having Usopp be weak, so obviously that's not going to be primary. But it's just thinking of how they're going to have Vivi take place in the story if she does come back, because I can't argue any power-up situation. But then if you think about it as well, Vegapunk would be the perfect place to get these power-ups, because she could be the tech, she could be a mix of Vegapunk and Frankie's tech and Usopp's ingenuity to develop a weapon that kind of substitutes for her lack of strength, which I think would be great to see. And it would also give Vegapunk a task to keep him away from the Sunny, to keep the Sunny entirely Frankie's whole thing, and nothing to do with Vegapunk at all. So Vegapunk has no input on the future of the Sunny, and it's all Frankie's achievement. So he's focused on making Vivi a weapon, And I think with that knowledge, maybe she would have had first-hand experience with hockey if she was, if she was around Sabo, so she would know what it is, or she would see it. So she would have a feeling for it, so she could catch on to it a lot easier. I don't know. It's really hard to argue, because when giving characters hockey, or with the Straw Hat, you could argue, they learned in the 2-year time skip because Luffy learned it over 2 years. And you could say that about Vivi as well, but it's just really hard because you want characters to be up to a certain degree, up to a certain standard. But it's hard with new characters who are older characters, because you're like, how are we going to argue they learned this? Because Vivi didn't show it off at the Reverie, so you're going to have to really persuade people into thinking, Jesus, Vivi was a lot stronger than we thought she was. But it would make sense as well, because that's how she would have escaped. So it's, it's an interesting conversation, because I want to see Vivi kick some ass, alright? That's something I really want to see. And if we have... This is going to be a real lore-heavy arc, because we have the Gorosei here, we have Vivi here, we have Vegapunk here, hopefully, we have Kuma. Kuma and Bonnie weren't approached again this chapter. And I'm excited to see where Kuma goes. Obviously, I think what happened is, it was kind of like a Kaido situation where his body, or he was valuable, and let's say his country basically said, no, we're going to give you away to the government, and in exchange we get to go to the Reverie. So that's how Sorbet came to the Reverie. Maybe it was a decision, like let's say Kuma's wife, for example, or future wife at the time of the flashback, the king, so his father-in-law was like, alright, nah, you gotta go, your body's special, this will get us into the Reverie, right? And he goes to the Reverie against his will, and then later on he's broken out, and so the queen has taken power and they marry for some reason. There's obviously going to be a lot more involved in that. But then we see, right, later on in his life, it comes full circle, where instead of being forced to go and be part of the government, he goes back willingly as to help his daughter, to help his cause, and hopefully, hopefully we get more of that information, and we see a full character arc for Kuma form. In that regard, I think that's the best way to be, and I want to see how he meets Dragon and everything with Dragon. And if, it would be funny if we had like a Jiraiya situation where Kuma turns out to be like Luffy's godfather, and that's why he was looking out for him. Like, with Jiraiya and stuff, and that in Naruto, where we found out that was what Jiraiya was. So it's interesting. I'm really excited. To be honest with you, I can't wait to see Kuma's backstory and how Bonnie will react to it. I hope it brings Bonnie up higher. I'm sure we all saw Mr. Morge's video on her being a Straw Hat. I would like that. Honestly, I would, because Bonnie's getting a lot more entertaining now. I didn't really like her initial design pre-time skip. Oh no, in the manga it was a lot better, but in the anime it looked a bit dodgy, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, but definitely post-time skip, especially the design with the coat. I quite enjoy, and it seems more covert and a nice design. And I actually don't remember her post-time skip design. I think it's pretty similar, but it might just be the better art that's making me think, that's pretty good. But I think she's a good character. She has good dynamics with Luffy. I can't remember now if she is being called by Bonnie by Luffy, because obviously we know Basically now, it's guaranteed if Luffy's calling a character by their nickname, they're not joining, because Yamato was going to be that one exception when we're like, oh, because the plot line is that she is Odin, you know, that they are Odin and they want to be, you know, they want to be known as Odin. It's like, okay, then the whole point here will be that Luffy eventually calls them Odin or something, or they come to realize that they can be themselves and don't have to look up to someone. You don't have to become someone, and then they'll go by Yamato, the son, like, and then they'll fully say they're Yamato, the son of Kaido, or they're Yamato, Odin's successor, or something, instead of being Odin themselves. But at that point, when they figure out entirely what way they want to approach it, Luffy will call them by that name, whether it's Odin or Yamato, right? But it didn't turn out that way, so Yamabro was just saying they're not joining the crew. So I need to double check a few chapters to see if Bonnie is called Bonnie by Luffy, or if we're gonna find out she has a different name or something. I don't know. I'm very excited though to see where that goes, how that's approached, stuff like that. Because Bonnie is becoming a way more interesting character as the arc goes on, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very, very exciting, and I can't wait to see. And Kuma as well. I just want to know what's going on with Kuma, because it seems like, alright, the Gorosei are attacking Egghead. Kuma's attacking the Gorosei. Why is this? Because, in my opinion, he would have had his only repercussion to fight back against his orders be that Bonnie was in danger. So I thought, okay, Bonnie's in danger now. The Gorosei have stepped foot on Egghead. He's going to come to Egghead. But he's attacking the Marijoa instead. So this is obviously still part of his programming, and Vegapunk must know this somehow, and I really want to see what this is, because I have no idea. Could it be a reenactment of it to distract the Gorosei in case they're attacking Vegapunk? Like, okay, we're going to have Kuma attack the Gorosei, or the Holy Land. So then if they're away attacking Vegapunk, they have to return. And Vegapunk will be safe. Is that how it is? Or is it like they need to grab something while the Gorosei are out of their post, and Kuma's the best guy to do it? I don't know what it is, but I'm really excited, you know? And Luffy... Now, we didn't talk about this, and it is going to happen, it looks like. We're going to have a Rob, Lucci, Kaku, Zoro, and Luffy alliance. So, I'm excited for this arc in terms of fights, right? Because we're getting to a point where we're going to see if the Straw Hats are warlord level, like now, if they could take out each of the warlords. And I think, aside from the Conqueror's users like Boa, or specifically Boa and Mihawk, everyone else I think is comparable to their actual characters in their Seraphim form. I think Boa and Mihawk are stronger than their Seraphims, but everyone else I think is comparable. So we're probably going to see where the Straw Hats land in terms of against the Warlords, and I'm really looking forward to that, to be honest with you. I want to see where Robin lands. Is Robin going to end up beating up Kuma or something? That'd be cool, to be fair. I want to see where Robin is in terms of power now, and even Nami. Nami with the Zeus power-up, because we saw she has Haki, or at least Zeus has Haki. We saw that in the anime, they showed that, and that was fantastic. And I can't wait to see where that goes. You know, getting to see where the Straw Hats finally stack up against the Warlords is going to be one of the most interesting things about this arc, in my opinion. You know, I can't wait to see it. Even Chopper, man. Where's Chopper gonna land? Big bad Chopper, you know? Brook as well. Brook, I like where Brook is going in recent arcs, where he does have like that espionage style with Robin, but him and Robin are teaming up quite decently, so he's like Robin's little bodyguard. You know what I mean? Looking after the crew. Him and Zoro are like the bodyguards, and I like that shit so much. I think that's a good role for Brook, because he's the elder with the most information, but he's having some fun. So he's just chilling with each Straw Hat, depending on the arc. Like he was just doing espionage, chilling with Carrot and Chopper and Whole Cake. In Wano, he was just chilling with Robin, making sure she's okay. And this arc, he's gonna chilling with everyone, but he was also doing some bodyguard duty with Zoro earlier on. So I like where Brook is at in the story at the moment. I think it's a good role for him to be sort of just being a bodyguard for a different Straw Hat every arc. And I kind of like that. He's just having fun, you know. And I'm very appreciative of that in terms of him having his own role that I really enjoy. Obviously, I'm just excited to see what Jinbei does. I got to see him fight Who's Who. I liked it. The anime did that very well. I will say, it felt a little slow. In the manga, it felt real fast. Like Jinbei was just, he got it done quick. It felt a lot slower in the anime, but that's how things naturally feel. I just felt it didn't feel that good, but it looked great. And that's another thing. While we're doing this, I know this is supposed to be a chapter review, but we're going to talk about this now. That anime episode was fantastic. I'll make a short about that at some point. But I really loved how they did that and had the sky split, and then they had the journal comparison with Roger and Whitebeard. I am so excited for Gear 5th in this anime, bro. I am looking forward to it so much. And fair play to the staff. They're putting so much effort in. And I know we complain about recaps and stuff, but man, when those moments hit, they really hit. And I watched the anime firsthand, and I didn't know it was a problem when I was watching it. But now I was as I said before in many videos, I was recovering from surgery, so I had nothing else to do. So I didn't have, other life constraints getting in my way, so I could just sit back and enjoy it at the pace it was. I will say, when I got to Wano, I just wanted to catch up at that point, and I think I got to Act 2, and I was like, nah, I'll read it from now on. And I did. But no, the anime isn't as bad as people said it was post time skip, but I can notice if you have other things to do and you're not just sitting in bed and having nothing else to do, literally can't move for 4 months. I can see why people might be like, this is taking too much time. But I'm excited to see where the anime goes. I'm looking forward to their approach to this. Even Egghead, man. When they get to Egghead, that's going to be really, really fun. Because we're going to have all the information that we're getting now. And to see how they approach that is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see that. But, yeah. I don't know. In terms of back onto the Luffy and Lucci alliance, essentially. I like this idea because I like Luffy and Zoro spending a lot of time together. I like their dynamic a lot. Even that moment in Wano where they hug each other like that. That was cool, and they spent the first act together, and that was really enjoyable. I enjoyed that, and to have that again in Egghead is going to be exciting. And to have Lucci and Kaku involved, we might get to figure out what happened to them after the cover story and some more information about that, which I'm looking forward to. But I do think we're finally going to see Luffy get the respect of Emperor that he deserves. And we saw that a bit from everyone else, but I think Lucci's going to finally acknowledge him at the end of this arc. I don't know. I'm extremely excited for the upcoming chapters. And I know I say that every week. But like every single week, these chapters get more and more built into them for me to be excited about. And I love that. I don't know. There's a lot to be said. There's more to be talked about 100% in terms of Vegapunk and the Gorosei, but I'm going to have to reread like a lot right now to just see what I'm missing, like if I'm missing anything. And when they mention Vegapunk, I have to go back and read all of like the mentions of Vegapunk and even the Gorosei and stuff. And like, oh man, the idea that this arc could reveal so much and be the catalyst for the final war. Imagine the final war starts off here and they go to Elbat to escape the final war and find the One Piece before they participate in the war. That stuff would be really exciting. I don't know. There is so much. This arc has so many possibilities, but I hope Dragon shows up. I really hope he shows up, man. He literally does. He's been showing up the most in the past couple of weeks, but I really want him to show up on Egghead. Man, I really want it to be like a similar situation to I really want it to be a similar situation to Logtown, right? That's why I wanted Smoker to show up as well, but I don't know. This arc definitely looks like it's going to be longer than I thought it was. I still think it's going to end by the end of this year, but it's definitely going to be longer than I thought it was. How long do you guys think it's going to last? Let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, I'm going to call it quits for today, but we'll talk about more of it in the future. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.